Good morning, dear Reverend Fathers, dignitaries, invited guests, well-wishers, online viewers, and my dear brothers. Prabodhana Palatine Center for Theological and Religious Formation welcomes all of you to the third and final day of our conference on the amendments to the Book 6 of the Code of Canon Law. A warm welcome is never complete without words. I am greatly privileged and delighted to welcome the speaker of the day, Reverend Dr. Merlin Ranjith Ambrose, Professor in Canon Law at St. Peter's Pontifical Institute, Bangalore. Dear Father, we cordially welcome you to this conference. Secondly, I am glad to welcome Reverend Dr. John Peter, the Rector of Prabodhana, Reverend Dr. Rajesh Cherian Umekuri, the Dean of Studies, Reverend Father Claudy Was, the Administrator, Reverend Father Matthew Thornicle, the Spiritual Director, Reverend Dr. Ignatius Sekka, our Resident Professor, to this conference. Dear Fathers, we welcome you all. I also extend warm words of welcome to our sisters from different congregations and novices present here. We welcome you all, dear sisters. It is my pleasure to extend a cheerful welcome to all the invited guests and online viewers far and wide. A hearty welcome to all of you. I also extend warm welcome to all our brothers. Once again, hearty welcome to all of you. Once again, I am proudly delighted and privileged to extend a wholehearted welcome to our most eminent speaker of the day, Reverend Father Dr. Merlin Ranjith Ambrose, and it is my great pleasure and honor to introduce him to this august gathering this morning. Father Merlin Ranjith Ambrose hails from the Diocese of Kottar, Tamil Nadu. He was born on 16th May 1981 and was ordained a priest on 19th April 2009. And he renders his service as Professor in Canon Law at St. Peter's Pontifical Institute, Bangalore. As far as his academic credentials are concerned, in ecclesiastical sphere, among many other commendable qualifications, he has secured his licentiate in Canon Law from St. Peter's Pontifical Institute, Bangalore, and he holds a PhD in Canon Law from Pontificia Università Urbaniana, Rome. He has also proven his caliber in secular studies as he holds a bachelor's in sociology and a master's degree in Christian studies as well. Besides his mother tongue, Tamil, he is also fluent in English, Tamil, German, Italian, and Latin. His doctoral dissertation was published under the title Right of Defense, an Essential Element in Marriage Nullity Process. Besides these praiseworthy achievements, he has also published quite a lot of his articles, both in national and international journals on various topics. Very recently, he has also published a book titled as Canonical Perspectives on the Recent Amendments in Ecclesiastical Law in collaboration with the St. Paul Publications, Mumbai. He has also attempted a few articles in Tamil and also written a few book reviews as well. Thus, we have a person of notable academic credentials and brilliant career amidst us today to spearhead our sessions this morning. Dear Father Merlin, we are indeed blessed to have you amidst us. Thank you for making up this day with us, and Prabodhana proudly extends you a warm and cheerful welcome. Welcome, Father Merlin. I now invite Father Dr. Merlin to take over the podium. In this first session, he will enlighten us on the topic Pastoral Care and Criminal Law. And may I cordially invite Professor Dr. Ignatius Sekka to take over as the moderator to facilitate our discussions. Welcome, dear Father.
Okay, no. Can you hear me? Good, okay, thank you. Thanks. When you're loud, volume. So, good morning, dear fathers, sisters, novices, I don't know, brothers. Good morning. I'm so happy to be here, and special thanks also for brother, I don't know what is his name, for his generous words of appreciation, and also I ask God to forgive me for enjoying those words, no? Anyway, so I'm happy to be here in your midst. I'm not most eminent and all. I'm just a priest from the Diocese of Kotar. I just completed my doctorate and I just came. This is my first year after my doctorate. So I'm also learning while I'm teaching. No, I'm also learning and I'm also becoming more and more competent in Canon Line St. Peter's. Of course, I did my licentiate in Canon Line St. Peter's, and since I did well, they also recruited me there. And this is also for me a learning process. You know, since I'm also equipping myself reading, because I have to teach. So I will be very happy to share the little knowledge that I have on this topic. But of course, we have two topics actually. First one is pastoral care and criminal law. Pastoral care and criminal law. Okay. And the second topic is its implication, the implications of the amendments to ordinaries. Yesterday you have discussed what is ordinary and all. I presume also so many things that you already know, and if at all you don't know, please don't worry and don't be afraid of me also. As we proceed, at any time when you don't understand anything, we will try to clarify and we will try to proceed. Not that we have to learn so much, but whatever we learn in depth and we learn with clarity. We try to understand with clarity. Okay, so don't feel, it is a family get together. So you feel free to ask questions, but of course it should be pertinent and relevant to the topic. And if I find it, maybe it could be held on to the open hour, we will also discuss that. We will take up that question at the end of the discussion. So I am not going to divide, I am not going to really compartmentalize the topics, like first we will deal with pastoral care and criminal law, then we will go to the implications of the amendments to ordinaries, laities, superiors and religious. I will just present it, and as I present it, we will also touch upon all the elements of these two topics because of the shortage of time. So feel free, feel free. And the first few slides will be little bit of theory. Don't sleep. But then later on, slowly we will enter into practical things, the special amendments, and we will try to gain some clarity. Is that okay for everybody? So feel free. Okay. So the first one is, the book, no? Book 6. Book 6 speaks about sanctions. Sanction. Okay. So earlier the title was sanction. Now the new title is penal sanction. Penal sanction. So the element of punishment is emphatically stressed upon now. Okay, the punishing character, the punitive character is really harped on. Is more emphasized in the amendments. In the amendments. Actually, yesterday I was, before I came to Prabodhana, I just spoke to one priest, only LCL relationship in Canada, one who was doing postgraduate in Canada. I asked, they have called me to speak on pastoral care and criminal law. I asked him, what is pastoral? No, for you, how do you describe pastorality of the canon law? Then he told pastoral, then it has to be like, we have to be meek, merciful, kind. That's what he explained. And he said, we have to be mild. Then I told, no, we have to be wild. We have to be wild. Actually, that is the emphasis that is given in this book 6, because we have to be wild. Mild and all is gone. Of course, we know Pope Francis being a man of mercy. He has even, 1 year was declared as mercy and all these things. We know he was a merciful man. But then canon law, according to him, we will also discuss what he understands by mercy, in relevance to canon law. We will also take up that element and so on. So the topic is like, I have put it comprehensively, pastoral care, crimes, and implications of the revision to ordinary pastors, religious and laity. Whenever you don't understand, please put up your hand and we will take up contextually. Okay. So just I'm just trying to also give a brief sketch of a bit of introduction. Like nearly 14 years after the revision initiated by Pope Benedict the 16th, you know that he was a cardinal of prefect of Congregation for Doctrine of Faith, and that was the time he was really facing the troubles, the havoc wreaked by the Catholic Church because of abuse of minors, financial scandals in the church, cardinals, bishops abusing minors, and the cases being bombarded in CDF, and he being the head of the prefect of the congregation, he had to personally face them, he had to personally give verdict, because we know Congregation for Doctrine of Faith is the supreme tribunal. That is also the tribunal. That is not merely a congregation, that is also a tribunal, court in our term, okay, in secular term. That is also the supreme court for abuse of minor cases. Congregation for Doctrine of Faith. That is one of the congregations, 9 congregations that the Catholic Church has. And since he was the prefect, he found it very difficult, and he also found it very hard, and it was really a bitter experience for him, and he really felt how the canon law is insufficient, inadequate in meeting in trying means in conducting the trials for these kinds of cases. So he felt the need of some revision of CAC 1983. CAC 1983, you know what is CAC 1983? Code. The code is CAC 1983. So it was he who thought of, it was the brainchild of Pope Benedict the 16th, the amendment. Okay, it was the brainchild, though it is, we have in hand now in black and white by Pope Francis. It is already envisaged by Pope Benedict the 16th as a cardinal of CDF, Congregation for the Doctrine of Faith. Therefore, Pope Benedict XVI, Pope Francis amended Book 6 on sanction by virtue of the Apostolic Constitution. Pascite gregem Dei. Pascite gregem Dei. Pascite means shepherd. You shepherd my flock. Shepherd the flock of God. Tend the flock of God. And that is taken by 1 Peter 5:2. And it was given on 23rd May 2021. So far clear, simple things. Okay. Then the new book 6 on sanction came into force the last year. Last year, 8th December 2021. And we must also understand, besides this case in 1983, there is also one more norm which is also more relevant to the amendments, that is called the Normae de Gravioribus Delictis, which means like grave norms on grave delict. We will take up if there is time. If the time permits, we will also touch upon those elements, and they are also updated. Okay, they are also updated. Norms on grave delict, abuse of minors, sisters abusing minors, clerics abusing minors, members of religious institutes and Society of Apostolic Life abusing minors, and living in concubinage. That is one of the gravest crime that is discussed in norms on grave delicts, and that has been also amended, and that came in 7th December. Okay, that came in 2001, then it was revised in 2010, then later on it was also revised on the 7th December 2021, norms on grave delicts. So there are two norms recently have been revised. One is CAC 1983 and also norms on grave delict. Norms on grave delict means so many norms. There are 5 delicts, we will take it up. Okay, so they are also revised. Okay, now I am with you so far. Okay, no? Okay, very good. And of course 74 canons out of 89. There are 89 canons in book 6 and out of 89, 74 are have been modified. Modified in terms of some canons are added newly, some canons are abrogated. Abrogated means canonically we don't say some canons are deleted or cancelled. Canonical term will be one canon is abrogated means that canon is cancelled. You understand me, no? That canon is no more there in the code. That is abrogation. Then there are also some new canons. Then some canons are modified and some canons are given different numbers because they are grouped together differently based on the emphasis given by Pope Francis. Clear? So far clear. Okay. Okay. And regarding the book 6 on sanction, the content of the book is like it is composed of two main headings. Okay. First one is part 1. Offenses and punishments in general. Okay, if somebody asks you what is sanction, you should immediately be able to say book sanction 6. No, it speaks on penal sanction. Penal sanction. Okay, thank you. Penal sanction. Okay, penal sanction, and this is composed. This comprises 2 books, 2 parts. Mainly, number 1, part 1, that is offenses and punishment in general. What is penalty? What is a crime? What is a delict? What is an offense? What are the punishments that we have? What types of punishments we have? How can the punishment be remitted? How can the punishments be applied? So those things will be dealt in part number 1. For example, punishment of offenses in general, and what is penal law? What is penal precept? And who are liable to penal sanction? Penalties and other punishments like censure, expiatory penalty, we will try to deal in nutshell as we go ahead. Penal remedies and penances and warning, correction, precept and violences, they are all new in the code. Application of the penalties, remission of penalties, prescription, we will touch upon the prescription of the action. So this is, this you see in part 1. And part 2, you have particular offenses and penalties established for them. So this part 2 is very, very important, and many changes you will find in this part 2 because they will focus on the particular crimes, individual offenses, and they are also categorized like offense against faith and unity of the church, offense against church authority and exercise of duties, offense against sacraments, offense against reputation, and offense of falsehood, offense against special obligation, trading, a priest should not indulge in trading or some offense against human life, dignity and liberty, abortion, abuse of minors. So this is part 2 is very, very important, and there are many changes which are affected, modifications which are affected in this part 2. So first part we will have some theoretical knowledge now, then we will go to the second part and we will try to look at the modifications which are affected by Pope Francis through the virtue of apostolic constitution called Postite Egregium Dei. Yeah. This one is the next one. Thank you. Okay. The first topic is pastoral and criminal, pastoral care and criminal law. Pastoral care and criminal. As soon as we think of pastoral, we think of, like as the father said, yesterday, he says merciful. It is like being kind, being mild, being meek, being compassionate. So pre-Vatican understanding of pastoral. What is pastoral? They said like pastoral means it is disciplinary. Council of Trent and all. What is the famous phrase of Council of Trent? The Latin, anathema sit. If you don't do this, you are anathema sit. You are condemned. Anathema sit, anathema sit, anathema sit. So that was the understanding of pastoral. Pastoral means you are a pastor, which means you will have to be very, very disciplinarian. You will have to be very doctrinal. You have to follow the doctrines. You have to follow the law. You have to follow the disciplines. You have to follow the orders and decorum. So that was the understanding of pastoral in pre-Vatican. Okay, and it's focused on strict and stringent application of law. If there is something, it has to be definitely applied. Certainly it has to be applied. So pastors understood that adherence to doctrinal teaching and the imposition of punishment when the laws are broken were necessary means to provide the authentic pastoral care to the souls of the faithful. So providing pastoral care means you will have to even punish. You will have to even punish when the laws are broken. That was the understanding of pre-Vatican. But then post-Vatican, after post-Vatican means, after Vatican II Council, pastoral, understanding of pastorality took a different route, took a different phase. What is that? Pastoral means against penal. You should not punish. If you are a pastor, you cannot punish. Even during Vatican II, they thought whether to even have this book on sanction. There was a phase, in the Cetus Studiorum, which means the revision committee, they thought, should at all a Catholic church have a book on sanction? Because the church has to be merciful, church has to be compassionate, and you are going to punish somebody. We are all in pilgrim church. Everybody is prone to err. Everybody is prone to make mistakes. And should we have a sanction? That was the understanding post-Vatican. Understanding post-Vatican on pastoral means it is against penal. Pastoral means it is against disciplinary doctrine. So it is against this understanding, pre-Vatican. You are okay, no? Okay. So it evoked a less juridical approach to questions of discipline. So if you are a pastor, you will have to be very, very less juridical. You cannot be very juridical. You cannot be very legal. We cannot be very. So even when I was sent for studies, to Rome or even to Bangalore, and another young priest, because our diocese is little known for its own liberation theology and all, Kotar, and progressive, and people sometimes they go a little bit mad also. In the name of all this progressive and liberation theology. And they said, from Kotar, a young priest, I was just 30 when I was sent for study. A young priest is going for canon law. Canon law. How can? I am not able to imagine that you are going for canon law. Which means what is understanding? Now who bothers about canon law? Who bothers about discipline? Who bothers about sanction? Who bothers about punishment? So that is the understanding. Okay, pastorality as meekness, mercy, overlooking corrections. So growing misunderstanding the role of penal law, the growing misunderstanding of the role of penal law led to improper use of penal law. You understand me so far? So they had a very wrong concept, wrong understanding of penal law, and consequently it also paved the way for wrong use, improper use of the application of penal law. So penal law was ignored by the pastors of the church. Okay, because everybody has to be pastoral. You don't have to really adhere to the norms of the law. Therefore, actually penal law, then you are a pastor, so-called a pastor with the heart. So which means finally they ended up, nobody paid attention to the law itself. Everybody was negligent, everybody ignored the law. Okay. And the consequence is painful. So everybody ignored the law, because you have to be pastoral, pastoral. So the consequence, what is the price? Is painful and dramatic. The consequence is painful and dramatic. Clerical abuse of minors. Nobody was there to punish when they meted out atrocities against the minors, when they stole money, when they mishandled children for their inappropriate behavior. Everybody was scot free. Nobody took notice of that, because you are a pastor. You have to be pastoral, the post-Vatican II understanding. So even Pope Benedict XVI, when he announced the need of revision in 2007, he said, pastoral character of the law is misunderstood and the church is paying the price for it. Church is paying the price for it. So pastoral care means, we have to be pastoral, meek, mild, merciful and all, but the price is so much, and that price is clerical abuses, money being mishandled, children's being mishandled, all those children are being mishandled, all those things. You okay, so far okay. And then the failure to use tools of penal law to exercise the church's innate and proper right to sanction the Christian faithful when they violate the law has contributed to lack of credibility. So therefore, church has the innate and proper right to sanction. Sanction means to punish people. and that was misunderstood, that was ignored, that was neglected, and as a result, it has contributed to lack of credibility. Okay, lack of credibility of the church in the world today. You know, the church, how much credibility is in the world, you know, because of the scandals, you know, which we see. And misunderstanding of Canon 1339. This is a very important canon which is wrongly misunderstood. Why I am bringing this element is how pastorality has to be understood in today's context in relevance to amendments. Warning and correction. Okay, warning and correction. Canon 1341 says, please, it is a very important canon. The ordinary, you know, who is ordinary and all, you know, I think 134, you know that. I presume that you know who is ordinary and all. Okay, no? 134. Okay, ordinary is to start a judicial or administrative procedure for the imposition of declaration of penalties only when it says you don't take up any procedure. Simply, you don't take up procedure. Procedure means, you understand, no? Procedure means trial. Trial, administrative trial and the judicial. You know, I hope. Procedure means trial, court case. You understand? Simple term, court case. You don't take up any case just like that. When and where you have to take it up only when, not just, you know, for each and everything you have to take up. It says, it is the old canon, okay? It is the old canon, 1341. I am talking about the old canon. It says only when. You don't take up just like that. You have to take up only when, which means that is much restricted. Only when the ordinary perceives that neither by fraternal correction nor reproof means admonishing, nor by any method of pastoral care can scandal be sufficiently repaired, justice restored, and the offender reformed. So, only when fraternal correction is in vain, fraternal correction is futile, useless. Only when admonition is useless, you have admonished and that fellow has not, you know, shown any effect, any correction. And only when the pastoral care that you have given, only all these things fail, only when all these things fail, you have to take up what? Procedure. You understand me, no? So only when, not just like that. You will have to first apply all these things, reproof, fraternal correction, pastoral care, and only those things failing, you can go for a judicial or administrative procedure. So this was wrongly understood by many bishops, especially in America and all. They always, you know, correction, in the name of correction, in the name of admonition, in the name of pastoral care, they used to cover up the issues. They used to cover up the issues and they used to bury everything under the carpet. Even a priest abused a child, or even a priest procurator stole a good deal of money in the diocese. Fraternal correction, pastoral care, reproof, they satisfied themselves with these methods and they buried the cases under the carpet. You understand me, no? So they did not resort to this penal measures. That is, penal measures are judicial or administrative procedure. When you resort to judicial or administrative procedure, you will have to definitely, obviously, you will have to punish him. You will have to punish him. You will have to even dismiss him. You will have to even, defrock him. You understand me, no? So therefore, they were hesitant to take up that element of that procedure, and they always resorted only to fraternal correction, proof, and all those things. So finally, the church was experiencing a very despicable havoc. Okay, so overemphasis of the phrase nunc tantum, only when, only, don't take up the case just like that, only when. But this did not absolve the ordinaries from the responsibility to impose penalties. So only when doesn't let the bishops or the ordinaries go free from applying the law. So it merely asks them to reserve such penalties for those times when the threefold missions are this: scandal, repairing the scandal, restoring the justice, and reforming the offender. So when threefold mission of the penal law could not be fulfilled by other means. So it never said don't apply. It said only those things fail to see the scandal being repaired, justice being restored, offender being reformed, you go for penal measure. Never said that you don't take up. Okay. Only when doesn't mean that you should not take up penal procedure, either administrative or judicial. You are with me, no? Clear. Okay, thank you. So the consideration of penal measures as anti-pastoral. So therefore, penal measure means, people think it is anti-pastoral. Penal measure means what? Judicial procedure or administrative procedure, extrajudicial procedure. Okay. So the consideration of penal measures as anti-pastoral. Okay. So pastoral means like reproof, correction, all those things, admonition. So these things like considering penal procedure and judicial or administrative procedure as something anti-pastoral seems to be due to the formulation of Canon 1341, which we discussed, according to which the ordinary is to start. Ordinary is to start. This is also very important auxiliary verb which has been changed. Is to start. Okay, we will discuss that. Ordinary is to start a judicial or administrative procedure only when. Okay, so here the consideration of penal measures as anti-pastoral. So this canon led to think many bishops that penal measures are anti-pastoral. They are all not pastoral. They are all not pastoral. For the Codification Commission, which means 1983, the highest expression of pastoralism in church penal law. Okay, this canon, okay, that is the highest expression of pastoralism in church penal law. In the light of this canon, the ecclesiastical authority should first try with any methods of pastoral care, and only when they are not sufficient to obtain the goals of punishment, he may adopt the penal punishment. This may induce to consider erroneously that the penal sanctions are non-pastoral and anti-pastoral. Clear, no? I think it is clear. Okay. But it should be understood that there is no contradiction between the pastoral dimensions of law and penal sanction. So, penal sanction, we should not think that there is a contradiction between pastoralism and the penal laws. Okay. Rather, penal sanction and the criminal laws are also the expression of church's pastoral concern. Okay, no? So, even the penal sanctions, even the judicial procedure, even the administrative procedure, okay. Administrative procedure has one more name, extrajudicial procedure, okay. Administrative procedure. Administrative procedure means extrajudicial. There is no judge, ordinary will take up. Judicial procedure, judge will take up. Tribunal will be there. Administrative procedure, ordinary, bishop, they will take up, they will deal the case directly. Okay. So, you should be rather penal sanctions and criminal laws are also the expression of church's pastoral. It is not proper to call the non-penal measures adopted by the authority towards who commit ecclesiastical delicts as pastoral, since the penal criminal law and sanctions may be consequently considered non-pastoral. Don't think penal sanctions are non-pastoral or anti-pastoral and other reproof, correction, warning are pastoral. We should not misunderstand. If you misunderstand, you will end up seeing penal laws as something anti-pastoral. But Pope Francis says even the penal laws are also the expression of pastoral character of the church. Okay, no? So even punishing somebody, even the punitive character of the law is also the obligation of being a pastor in the church. As a mother, no, a child, mother is of course very merciful, very compassionate, very kind, meek, mild to the child. At the same time, she also admonishes, she also rebukes, she also scolds the child when the child goes astray, no? So doesn't mean the church, mother being rather wild with a child doesn't mean that she is not motherly. Mother is also mother. That is also her role. So the role of the church also is to punish. Role of the church also is to punish. Okay. The pastor includes both non-penal and penal measures. So pastoral care would mean correction, warning, admonition, rebuke, reproof, and also punishing if need be, if need emerges. Okay. The false conception of mercy and charity, which tended to avoid judicial procedure due to the indeterminate penalties in the law itself, was often practiced by ecclesiastical authority. Okay, this is also very important. So, 1983 code was very pastoral, the element of pastorality, and obviously, consequently, that enshrined in it many provisions for just penalties, indeterminate penalties. Okay, so they explained, they promulgated many delicts in it, but they failed to give proper proportionate, relevant punishment to those crimes when they were violated. When they were violated. Because they misunderstood Canon 1341 where the pastoral care was more emphasized. You are with me, no? So they failed. They did not. We have to be very meek men. So don't give simply punishments and not use. Say, explain about the delicts, offenses, violations, but just say appropriate penalty has to be given, or just penalty has to be given, or according to the discretion of the bishop has to be punished, or according to the gravity of the offense it has to be punished. They never enumerated, they never explicated the penalties. You understand me, no? They did not explicitly enumerate penalties relevant to the, proportionate to the delicts promulgated in the code. Okay, no? So the code has indeterminate punishment. For example, just penalty. What is just penalty? Even know, nobody knows what is just penalty. What is just penalty? You do a wrong mistake and just penalty has to be given. What is just penalty? Nobody knows. And bishops also took it for granted. Just penalty, no? Code doesn't say that he has to be dismissed, no? Just penalty. What I will do? He has abused a child here. I will just transfer him to another. I will transfer him to another parish. Just penalty. That is the way they understood. Because we had to be pastoral, no? We had to be pastoral. Just penalty. According to the gravity of the offense. He stole only $1,000. This is not a big deal of money. The gravity is less, no? Just take him and put him in another institution. Don't take a bed trial. So according to the gravity. So the gravity has been misinterpreted. Then many canons say he may be punished. Doesn't say he has to be punished. Puniri potast. Potast means he can be punished. He can be punished. He may be punished. Which means bishop can justify themselves. Law never bound me saying that you have to punish. Law never told me to punish him by all means. Law said he may be punished. He can be punished. Puniri potast. Okay. So bishop did not punish him. Then can be punished. Then discretion of the bishop. We know the discretion of the most of the bishops also. Discretion of the bishop. They are not canonists. They have not studied canon law. So what is the discretion of the bishop? Their own discretion is their own discretion. Okay. Their discretion many know. I'm sorry. Anyway. So which have to be just. But just who knows the just and who knows the discretion? Who knows the gravity? So law has not explicitly stated anything. For most of the delicts, delict means crime. Okay, you just for your understanding, delict means crime. Delict, crime, offense, same thing. Just for your understanding. So for the laws, leaves to the discretion of the competent. Here the canon law is at risk, obviously, no, because law doesn't say anything. When church leaders use their authority to look for pastoral solution to juridical problem. So the problem is juridical, and you are giving a pastoral solution. It is not proper, no? It is not proper. You are abusing your ecclesiastical power. Being in authority, the problem is juridical because it is a delict which is enshrined, which is envisaged in the canon, and you are going and giving a pastoral solution to a problem which is canonical, which is legal, which is juridical. So they could lose not only their juridical competence as recognized by the state, but also their moral authority vis-a-vis Catholic public opinion. So when you are giving a pastoral solution to a juridical problem, obviously you lose what? Your own credibility. People won't believe in you, no? People won't believe in you. And moreover, you also lose their juridical competence as recognized by state. State has given you some competence and you are not taking action as a bishop or as a provincial or as a moderator, superior general, and definitely state won't recognize your competence. Moreover, church also, people or state or anybody for that matter will lose their credibility also in you. Okay. So pastoral intent of the Pope. The failure of the pastors to make appropriate use of the penal norms found in CAC 1983 is identified Pope Francis as one of the pastoral motivation behind the current revision. So why he revised? He said the pastoral intent of the code has been misunderstood or it has not been applied by the people in the power. Therefore, church wanting to be pastoral in its full-fledged understanding of the word pastoral they have gone for the revision of CIC 1983. So that is the pastoral care that has to be applied for the criminal law. Pastoral voice. Okay, there are 3 voice. I just want to pastoral. Is will be little bit of repetition. Like the revised code contains determinate penalties. So the revised code, the new revision contains now determinate penalties. Canon 1336 expiatory penalty. We will explain later. And eliminates also as much as possible the discretionary power of judges, discretionary power of superiors. So now this has, the revision has limited, restricted the discretionary power, which means earlier it said according to the discretion of the bishop he can punish the delinquent, okay, the fellow who has externally violated the offense. Now the revision has taken away that particular discretionary power. Just penalty, just imagine in 1983 code, how many canons say just penalty? These are all the canons which say just, so for, which means for all these delicts, the bishops would not have given the right, and or the people who are in the ecclesiastical power would not have given the right just penalty, because they never knew what is just penalty. Law did not give all these canons just penalty in the revision, in the CAC code earlier that we had, and penalty according to the gravity of the offense. Like this, these are all 3 important delicts for which they said gravity of the offense. So what is the punishment? What is the exact relevant proportion? No, indeterminate punishment. All these canons indeterminate. So which means obviously people at the helm of the church, people in the ecclesiastical power, no, they would have really ignored the delict, which means the code doesn't give any exact, clear-cut, explicit punishments, penalties. You understand me, no? Clear? Hope I am not above your head. Okay, no? Clear? Anybody has any doubt and all? Okay, no? Okay, simple things. Okay. So the need for the good government of the church because of a need to vindicate the order of justice. Okay, this is very important. Okay. The code, actually, penal law has 3, penal law means book 6, has 3 purposes, 3 ends. Okay, 3 motives. What are they? Restore. Why you have to punish? Why you have to take up a case? Because you have to restore justice. Then reform the offender. You have to reform the offender. Thirdly, you have to also repair the scandal. 3 things: restore justice, reform the offender, and repair the scandal. I think you know all these things. No, I am repeating. Okay. So this is the order which was there in the CIC 1983. But now the order has been changed. Order has been changed. Earlier, first was repairing the scandal. Second was restoring the justice. Third was reforming the offender. Now the order has been changed. Now, more than reparation of the scandal, what you have to do is you have to restore the justice. Therefore, there is a paradigm shift from the offender, from the scandal to the justice, to the victim. You understand, no? Victim is given more emphasis in the revision than repairing the scandal or reforming the offender. Okay, no? We are speaking of synodal church. Everybody is in communion. So justice, when somebody is meted out an atrocity by way of a girl or a boy, the communion also is disturbed. You know, the communion also is disturbed. Synodality is disturbed. So therefore, the number 1 should be restoration of the justice, whereby the communion is restored. Okay, no? So that gradation also now has been changed. The gradation of the motive, purposes, ends of penal law. Okay. So pastoral ministry of justice, secure justice for the individual, the church, and especially for those who have been the victims of abuse in any form. So the victim is more important than the scandal. Victim is more important than the offender. Okay. That is very. All the penal laws which came out. Okay. Now, third one, we will to have a greater uniformity in the whole church in the application of just penalty as provision for the discretion of judges is reduced. Now in the, for example, just penalty, discretion, gravity, one bishop will understand, for him stealing 1,000 rupees will be a big scandal. For another bishop stealing 1,000 rupees, he would just ignore him. So there is no uniformity even in the application of the law, even in the punishing character of the law. Therefore, uniformity was, so to have greater uniformity, they also revised it. The offenses are now better specified, like we will take up later. Penalties are now exhaustively listed. Now for most of the penance, most of the delict, offenses, crimes, now we see penalties in Canon number 1336, which is expiatory penalty. We will explain that. Then principle of proportionality, whereby now principle of proportionality also is found in revision, because for this delict the punishment should be also proportionate to the delict, not something. For a small delict you can't give a, just he stole, let us say, he received more money than what is prescribed by the provincial council for celebrating a mass. For our region, 100 rupees for a mass, and the priest received, no, you have to give me 200 rupees. For that, the bishop cannot just dismiss him from the priesthood. That is not a proportionate penalty, no? So principle of proportion, whereby punishments can be more clearly applied to different crimes such that they better fit the nature of the, so punishment has to fit to the nature of the, a corollary of this principle is a notion seen in the new law that penalties ought to be more clearly determined by the law itself and less left to the will of the authority imposing the penalties. Thomas Aquinas, just posturage of the law, because we are dealing with pastoral care and criminal law. Thomas Aquinas is justitia sine misericordia crudelitas est, misericordia sine justitia dissolutio est, which means justice without mercy is cruelty. Okay, justice without mercy. You all know the famous justice tempered by mercy, equity. Justitia temperata misericordia. Justitia temperata misericordia. So therefore, justice without mercy is cruelty, and mercy without justice is disorder. Mercy without justice is disorder. So you will have to strike a balance. That is what Thomas Aquinas says. So pastorality, I am a pastor. I am a pastor of heart. I am a pastor of mercy. Don't say justice without mercy. You are wrecking cruelty. You are causing havoc in the church. You understand me, no? Therefore, mercy without justice is a disorder. I am a pastor of heart. I am a pastor of mercy, kindness. No. I will not punish. Everybody is a human being. Everybody is prone to error. So I am a human being. I am a feeble. I know my limitations. So he has done something. I will not punish, which means mercy without justice. You are paving the way. You are giving rise to. You are causing disorder in the communion of the church. So Thomas Aquinas says, justice without mercy is also cruel. Therefore, you will have to strike a balance between mercy and justice. Therefore, justice, you have to do justice, but at the same time, equity, which means justice has to be little bit tempered by little bit of mercy also. Okay, no? Pope Francis, mercy and pastoral charity also requires correction. The man of mercy, Pope Francis, what is his hallmark? Pope Francis means immediately what? Who is Francis? Maybe I would say Francis, man of mercy, because he is the man who harped on the theme. Who kept on reiterating the element of mercy. But even he says mercy and pastoral charity requires also correction. All would have thought that Pope Francis, who is so famous for the concept of mercy, are smelling the sheep. Smelling the sheep means you have to smell the sheep as it is, with its own feebleness, with its own limitation, with its own inability. Would be the legislator who brought to complete revision of penal law and restored also the proper understanding of the role of law in pastoral life of the church. In an eloquent passage towards the end of Pascite Egregium Dei, Pope Francis speaks of justice, mercy and punishment. Okay? Pascite Egregium Dei, we know Apostolic Constitution, through which they also brought out this new revision. It says, justice, mercy and punishment being equal and integral parts of ministry of the pastor. So justice, mercy and punishment also. They are all pastoral character of the pastor, You understand me, no? So that is the pastoral care which is envisaged in the revision. Not just closing your eyes blindly and just allowing them, everybody to go scot-free. You understand me, no? So we will finish it. Okay. The echoes of language canon is counsel of Trullo. I am just reading. Okay, now you know the concept. Those who have the power to loose and to bind must by stringent medicines or milder or soothing ones bring the lost sheep back to the fold and heal the serpent's bite. So therefore, stringent medicine or even milder or soothing ones. The wound caused by sin and crime in the body of the church cannot always be healed by gentler means. For this to be accomplished, penalties must be imposed, and this is the genuine role of pastoral pastor. That is the pastoral care. Otherwise, the offender is given the rein to lead dissolute or contemptuous life. Okay. In the face of injustice, no one can remain neutral. Doing so, I am a pastoral pastor. So I cannot be neutral. Doing so, if I am neutral, I make one into an accomplice. The pastoral care, which means impartiality instead of neutrality. Pope Francis, the pastors who choose not to act in accord with the norm of the law in difficult situation fail to be pastors and fail to appreciate the close relationship existing in the church between the exercise of charity and recourse to disciplinary sanction. By choosing the title Passit Egregium Dei for the Apostolic Constitution, by which he promulgated the revision of Liber, Book 6, Pope Francis restores pastoral place in the life of the church to its penal law, which has been the object of neglect for decades. New salient elements. So far we understood little bit about the pastoral care and criminal law. So you know now what is the understanding which the church is supposed to have in terms of vis-a-vis what? Criminal law. You know now what is the pastoral understanding, pastoral care by the superiors or the bishop or ordinaries when they come across delicts or the violation of law. Not simply closing our eyes, not just being merciful, not being just, you will have to also resort to, you will have to also apply punitive measures. New salient elements. The old canon, old canon which is already there in the code. The church has the inherent, innate and proper right to coerce, to persuade offending members of the Christian faithful with penal sanction. So 1311, that is the first canon, that is the first canon of book 6. That is the first canon of book 6, which says, church, it is the right of the church to punish the offending members of the Christ faithful with the penal sanction. Now this paragraph is added in the new canon, first canon, and this also explains the real role of this revision, the real character of this revision. So new para is added in this canon, that is paragraph 2, new one. So all those you find in red, you must think that they are all new. Responsibility of the head of the church, new. The one who is at the head of a church must safeguard and promote the good of the community itself and of each of Christ's faithful through pastoral charity, example of life, advice, exhortation, and if necessary also through the imposition of declaration of penalties in accordance with the provisions of the law, which are always to be applied with the canonical equity, definitely, and having in mind these are the ends of penal law, restoring justice, reforming the offender, and repairing the scandal. Therefore it says you will have to be an exemplar, you will have to advise, you will have to exhort, and if necessary you will have to also use provisions of the law which are to be applied with the canonical equity. So the very first canon says it is good that you have the innate inherent right to punish people, and of course you have to be very charitable pastorally through advice and exhortation and by your example, and if also needed you will have to even apply the law. So don't be just negligent, don't close your eyes. You'll have to take up the measures. That's what the second paragraph which has been added in the very first canon of book 6 on sanction emphasizes. Hence, to punish the offender is also a pastoral charity shown to the victim and to the church. Okay. For example, when you are closing your eye, for example, let us say I abused a child. Okay, I was in a parish and I abused a minor of 17 years old. And the bishop is a good fatherly figure to me. He liked me so much, and he loves me also. I am his apple of his eye. I am his pet. And I abused a minor, and the bishop, Merlin, I know I like you, so I will just cover up things, and we will try to leave the things like that, and we will see. We don't touch upon the issue. So he is showing, I won't say he is showing pastoral charity to me. Okay. He is at the same time, he is not showing pastoral charity to whom? The girl who was abused by me. So pastoral character, if you say that you are a pastor, you have to be merciful to the offender means, what about the victim? What about the person to whom the injustice is meted out, injustice is done? You understand me, So pastoral charity is not, it cannot be partial, Pastoral charity both to the offender and also to the victim. So now the emphasis is also shown to the victim. This new paragraph bases its foundation on Lumen Gentium 27, referring to the role of pastors to exercise their pastoral office not by correction, persuasion and example, but also by authority and sacred power if needed with penalties. This is what pastoral care according to Lumen Gentium 27. In order to highlight the necessity of applying the penal measures and to protect the good of the community, the revised book added. Okay, this is another thing. As I said, for example, okay, so you see only when who will explain this concept? Only when means not necessarily, earlier it said you cannot take up penal measures, which means you cannot just punish just like that, only when you are not able to correct the person by admonition or by your pastoral method, only at that time, only at that occasions you can go for penal measures. And it said is to start subjunctive mood. Subjunctive mood means in Latin conjunctive mood, a little bit of Latin I presume. Conjunctive mood, it says is to start means he may start, he can, okay, this is subjunctive mood. He may do it, he may do it, is to start. Kurat, he cancel. And only when. Now it says ordinary must start, not subjunctive. Which must start means debat. Debat means you have to go ahead with the pastoral measures. Not you can or you may. You have chastity for religious, and as a secular priest of the diocese, I am bound by the sacred order. Very good. Sacred order, impediment, 1087 canon. So therefore, I am bound by the impediment of sacred order. Therefore, I can only attempt. I can't really marry. I can't really marry. Okay, So you don't say priest got married and all. Don't say priest attempted marriage. Priest can never marry unless the impediment of sacred order is dispensed. Okay, So you can't marry. So decide. You can only attempt to marry. Okay. Very good. Attempt marriage. In case latissidency, you know what is the meaning of latissidency suspension? What is latissidency? Automatic, ipso facto, by the force of law itself. It's a very word, latus is a adjective. Latus, latum, lata, adjective. First and second declension adjective. Latus means side. When you are in Italy and all, you have to scendere al lato sinistra. They say you have to get out from the train from the left side in metro. Latus means side. Sentencia means is a promulgation, declaration. Not the sentence that I am good. That is a sentence. That is a grammatical sentence. Here sentence means judgment. You understand me, Judgment, promulgation, declaration. So latus sententia suspension means a suspension, a sentence of suspension that comes side, which means that comes along. You understand me? That comes along. So when you hear the word late sententia and all, you should know how to latus sententia, a suspension, a judgment of suspension that comes along by the violation of the law, that comes side by side. When you commit a violation, the suspension also comes along. Nobody has to declare it. You understand, no? Ferende sententia means fero. That is a future participle passive of the word fero, which means which is to be imposed, which is to be carried on, which means you are externally violating, and the sentence of suspension does not come along side by side. It comes only when it is imposed, only when it is carried out. You understand, no? That is the meaning of latus, latus sententia, and okay, I am not going there.
Just
Okay. Oh my God. Okay, latus and suspension. If after warning, okay, I am talking about priest, okay, priest attempting to marry, okay, priest cannot marry, attempting to marry, in case latus sententia suspension. I am suspended, no, bishop doesn't have to tell me, Merlin, you are suspended. When I attempt to marry, I am automatically suspended. The sentence of suspension comes along the attempt to marry, comes along. If after warning, Merlin has not reformed and continues to give scandal, the old canon said, puniri potas, he can be punished, progressively punished by deprivation. So bishop need not by all means definitively punish me. He may, he can, he cannot, he may not, he need not. But now it says Merlin who attempts marriage, even if on civilly, in case without prejudice the provision of canon, okay, you no need. If after warning Merlin has not reformed or continues to give scandal, he must be, okay, that is the role of the pastor, because he has to correct me. My salus anima, my salvation of my soul also is the concern of my own superior, bishop, therefore. Old, due to the can be nature, can be means this can be, okay, can be nature of the penalty, it is left to the bishop, therefore, this change must be, okay, can be to must be, reduces the number of cases which penalty to apply. Option, the authority had whether to impose or. So when, according to can be, two possibilities were there for superiors, whether to impose penalty on Merlin or not. It is not clear. It is not must know whether to impose. Bishop can think, should I impose? Secondly, if at all I impose, what penalty I must inflict upon Merlin? You understand me, no? So there were two confusions. Now these confusions are removed because of the pastorality character the bishop has on me, or the provincial has on his own. The pastoral care of those people who may receive the sacraments from the priest who goes scot-free. Therefore, this linguistic change is meant to call the bishops to greater accountability in applying penalties to offending clerics as part of their pastoral ministry. You understand? Okay. This is one element of pastorality. So far we saw one element of pastorality. There is also other element of pastorality, like being merciful or being showing justice also to the offender. So far we talked about pastorality in terms of the victim and also the offender. My salvation of soul also is concerned. At the same time, the victim who was abused by me also is concerned, okay, for the spirit. Now, to avoid the other extreme, it is okay. For example, any person is considered innocent until the contrary is proven. Any person is considered innocent until the contrary is proven. Okay. Now, for example, Father Rajesh goes to my bishop and he accuses me that Father Merlin came and he and I abused a minor of 17 years. Okay, there is an allegation. Doesn't mean bishop being a pastorally pastor, immediately he has to punish me. He cannot punish me, no? So, I am innocent. He has accused me and the allegation has to be proved. Okay, so we here, bishop also has to be pastoral to whom? To me. To me. He cannot just punish just like that based on a mere and sheer allegation made by Father Rajesh. He cannot just believe whatever he says, no. He has to take up a trial. He has to look into the matter. He has to conduct preliminary investigation, Canon 17:17. Based on that only he can arrive at the conclusion whether a real delict or real, there is some saltum very similis, they say. Saltum very similis, Latin, which means at least an element of truth, at least some element of truth is there in it. Only then. So he has to be also a apostle to me, the person who is accused, person who is alleged. You are with me, no? Okay. So therefore, that innovation may seem like very little, but given, but you are laughing. Anything is going on? Anyway, hope I am not boring. Okay, no? Good. Innovation may seem like very little, but given that priests and their advocates in recent decades have charged that mere accusation of a canonical crime can be enough to see them exiled from the ministry, the affirmation that the church made in the presumption of innocence is likely to seem like a validation of their human right to a fair. So, right to fair hearing. Bishop has to be apostle to me. He has to respect my right to fair hearing. He cannot just punish me based on his version. He has to hear me. He has to listen to me. Audiatur et altera pars. In Latin we say audiatur et altera pars means that is right of defense. My thesis. Right of defense, what is it? I am alleged. I am accused. Bishop cannot just hear him. Bishop cannot just listen to him and punish me. He has to also listen to me. Provincial also has to listen to me. And if you take up the case without audiatur et altera pars, which means without fair hearing, without having heard me, the procedure is invalid. 1670 paragraph number 7. Okay. If anybody has code, no, please keep referring to those who are interested in canon. Okay. 1670 paragraph number 2 says right of defense, if it is violated, if it is negated, if it is infringed upon this right to fair hearing, the procedure, all the trial that the provincial or the bishop conducted is invalid, irremediably null. It cannot be remedied upon. Whatever you have taken for 2-3 years, futile, in vain, goes waste, because you have not heard the person who is alleged. Clear, no? Right to fair hearing. So therefore, any person is considered innocent until the contrary is proven. Onus probandi. Onus probandi means the burden of proving. He alleges me. Onus means burden. Probandi means probandus. It's a Latin term, proof, to prove. Probandi, genitive declension, which means burden of proving, lies upon the one who accuses me. Not, I don't, he accused me, you prove. Okay. So you prove that I abused a minor. So therefore, the onus probandi is on for the Rajesh, because he accused me. Therefore, no one can be punished unless the commission by him or her of external violation of law or precept is gravely imbutable by. This is very important sentence in sanction. Okay.
That must be done with the civil law also.
Pardon me?
That must be done with the civil law.
Civil law also, definitely, no, civil law also. And of course, civil law comes from Roman law, you know that, Roman law, and the code of canon law finds its origin in Roman law. Okay, both civil law and Roman law find their origin in civil law. Okay, so this is very important concept for sanction. What is delict? What is delict? Okay, what is delict? Delict is like crime or offense. It should be to name something as an offense. There should be dolus and there should be culpa. There should be malice. Okay, there should be also culpability. What is malice? Malice comprises two things, knowledge and will. You are conscious, you know that it is a crime, and you still deliberately, willfully, intentionally, advertently, you are committing it. You understand, you know? So, for a offense to get constituted, to come into existence, there should be three things. Number one, external violation of law. Somebody should have violated it externally. You understand, no? Somebody has done that externally. Number two, there should be malice. In Latin, dolus. which means the person should have the knowledge and the person also did it deliberately. Knowledge and will constitutes malice. Number 3, culpability. He should be culpable. He should be culpable. Therefore, that is called delict. Okay. Therefore, no one can be punished unless the commission by him or her of an external violation of law or precept is gravely imputability. It is also fourth concept. Imputability means I did something imputable. Put it in a ordinary English. Let us say I did something and I am imputable to that offense means I am responsible for that offense. I am accountable. You understand me, no? Imbutability. Canonically, we should not say he is responsible for this. Canonically, we should say he is imputable. Imputable. Okay. So, gravely imputable by when one becomes imputable by reason of malice. You know the components of malice, knowledge and will, and also his own culpability. Okay. The principle of this is any person considered until conduct. That is called the principle of presumption of innocence. Itam kuilbet presumitur innocence nisi probatur nocens. Okay. You understand? Okay. That is not it. A person is presumed innocent until proven guilty. This is a very famous principle, pastoral principle when somebody is accused or alleged. You can't just punish him. Okay. Secondly, 1342, which is newly added in the revised code, right of defense. Somebody has to be heard. The alleged person has to be heard. Thirdly, principle of proportionality. That also has been repeatedly stressed upon in this revision, because for a simple crime you cannot punish somebody extensively. You get me, no? So these are all the pastoral element of other side. Okay, no? The offender. I cannot be punished improportionately. I cannot be punished without being heard. Okay, no? And I cannot be punished without having given me the right to defend myself in the canonical juridical forum. Clear, no? Okay. Medicinal penalty and expiatory penalty. What is medicinal penalty? Anybody who has done sanction? Medicinal penalty, please. How do you differentiate medicinal penalty between medicinal penalty and expiatory penalty? Very good. Curative, healing. Yeah. Medicinal is, by the very word medicine. Medicine means you are, when a person is sick, you are giving when a person has dolo, you give him 650. When a person has a fever, you give him dolo 650. When a person cannot have dolo, sorry. Okay, you understand me, no? So, a person is sick and you are giving dolo to cure him, to heal him, to get him recovered. So, it is medicinal character, no? Medicinal character. So, also, medicinal penalty means a person has violated something and you are giving a medicine so that the person will get healed and he will come back to you. Okay, no? He will come back to you. So, medicinal penalty, it is not perpetual. Dismissing me. For example, I am Merlin, abusing a girl, and Bishop, CD Congregation for Doctrine of Faith, because that congregation is competent to all these cases, dismisses me. Is it medicinal? Can you say it is a medicinal? Because I am losing the priesthood once and for all. Even if I repent, can I become priest again? No. So it is not medicinal nature. It is called expiatory penalty. Dismiss. Expiatory penalty means you have done something gravely wrong and you have to do the ransom. You have to do the expiation for that crime indeterminately. Whether you repent or not repent, that is not my concern. You have done this act. That is expiatory. That doesn't have the medicinal character. Even if I repent and all, nothing works. I cannot become priest again. You get me, no? Whereas medicinal penalty like excommunication, like interdict, like suspension, okay, no? Suspension, interdict, excommunication, they are called, medicinal penalty has other name called censure, censure, which means excommunicate. Communio, around, communio means around. You are excommunicated, communio means, you are excommunicated means from the communion you are away. So which means you are kept out so that you should come back by repentance. So when you show repentance, when you will be brought back to that communio. You understand, no? That is called excommunication. Excommunicatio. Get me, no? So therefore, excommunication, indict and suspension, they are called medicinal penalty. These penalties strongly emphasize the reconciling the offender with the community. You are given a medicine so that you will come back, you will reconcile with the community. Their operative force depends on the individual's dispositions. Condumox means if I am adamant, I cannot be remitted of they cannot lift the medicinal penalty. When I am repentant, they will recruit me back to the community. Hence, once offender sincerely repents, the penalty is remitted. Okay. This one is also important. Does not acquire remuneration. Okay, that is one. Expiatory penalty, this penalty is emphasis more notably restoring community order. It aims at reparation of the scandal. It attempts to deter would-be violators. For example, I abuse a child and bishop is dismissing me. So, which means he is also giving sign to other priests. If you do this also, you will be dismissed. You will be thrown away. So, expiatory penalty doesn't aim at the repentance of the person, conversion of the person. Expiatory penalty aims at the discipline of the community, discipline of the community and reparation of the scandal. Doesn't concern the offender. Get me, no? Expiatory penalty. These penalties are operative even after. Okay. This is very important. Okay. I said no. From indeterminate penalty, now in the code revision we have which penalties? From indeterminacy to determinate penalties. Okay. They have prescribed for this violation this penalty. Earlier it was just penalty. Earlier it was according to the gravity. Earlier it was according to the description of the penalty. Now no. If you do, you have to meet these consequences. So 1336 is a very important canon in the revision. 1336 speaks about expiatory penalty. Expiatory penalty. Expiatory penalty you know now. For example, expiatory penalties can affect the offender either forever, dismissed, I am dismissed forever, or for a determined or for an indeterminate period. Okay. Let us say I stole some money and bishop says, Merlin, hereafter you should not, I am not going to appoint you as the parish priest for 15 years. Determined period. Even after 1 year, I go to the bishop. Bishop, I repented. I will never commit. I will not steal money. I will be very faithful to you. Nothing works. Even after the repentance, the penalty is expiatory, which has been prescribed for a determined period. So, if it has been given 15 years, even though you have shown remorse and repentance after 1 year, nothing, you will not be. Because expiatory penalty means it is for ever or it is for a determined period or it is also even for a indeterminate period. Apart from this, okay. What is expiatory penalty? An order. Bishop giving an order. It is called Canon 49 precept. Precept means you do or you don't do. Bishop giving, provincial giving. You do or you don't do. Canon 49, that is called precept. Bishop says, this is old. Whatever is new only, you will find it in the red letter. To reside in a certain place. Bishop says, Merlin, you don't have to reside in a certain place. Bishop, you have to reside only in the bishop's house. You can't be outside the bishop's house. Or bishop says, you don't be in the school at all. Because in school there are children and you already abused a girl boy in the parish, and I strictly tell you, I strictly order you not to be in the school. You have to be only here in the bishop's house. Secondly, very important, very, very important. This was revived from CSC 1917. For example, to pay a fine or sum of money. Canon law speaking about fine. Fine or sum of money for the church's purposes in accordance with the guidelines established by ecclesiastical. Canon 848, for example. 848 says, I belong to Madurai region. Father is from Madurai, and Madurai region means archdiocese, province we should say. Okay. Canon law, you should say province. Okay. Archdiocese, and under the archdiocese there will be suffragan dioceses. No? So that is called province. Like you have your own province, archdiocese and suffragan diocese will be province. So mass offering province fixes the tariff for mass offering. Madurai province has fixed 100 rupees per mass, 100 rupees per mass. And I, being a parish priest of the Kota diocese, which comes under Madurai province, I have to follow obviously that that particular law, which means I also have to get 100 rupees. And I say to my people, you all have to give me 200 rupees for each mass. So I am asking for more money than what is prescribed in the provincial council by the province. Okay. So here, if I had got more money, the expiatory penalty, earlier it did not say anything. If I had got more money, I have to pay back the money, the sum of money for the church's purpose, to pay a fine. For example, we know, sorry to say, even at Vatican and all, Vatican Congregation for Canonization of Saints and all, I don't know whether you would have heard a particular cardinal, spending a lot of money and all, and even anywhere in the in the Catholic Church, people, those who are in the power, they have money, they have looted money and all. So now the Canon law has specifically, explicitly here, he has come out with a prescription saying that they have to pay back even the money. Earlier, the Canon law was silent, that you have to give back the money that you stole. Okay? Can't hear me? I see. They can't hear, it seems. Pardon? Okay. Audible for others? Okay. Okay. So now paying back money. So therefore, we are also dealing with the implications of the revision to ordinary superiors. So ordinary superiors, they must also know that if their own members, priest, diocesan priest, they have stolen money, there is a provision to ensure the money is okay. They can also be asked to pay fine also. 1488, 1489, advocates and procurators. Yeah, it is in force. Yeah.
Has it got any proactive effect or
Pardon?
has it got any?
No, it does only from December 8th. Sorry. That is okay. That many do. And most of the priests, they live by that only. The more offering, people, diocesan priests, we get only 12,000 rupees. But people have more. They have car and this and that, AC and television. How? The goodwill of the so-called good souls that we have in the more offering. That is okay. That is depending on the donor. 755 onwards, you will find these implications. If you take the Canon, 755. We will take up later. We will take. Thank you.
So far, Father is explaining about the. It is time for. It is time for tea break. So far, Father has explained about the soul and spirit of the mind of our Pope and the revision process, and it has come to our notice. Now we shall take a break and we'll come at exactly at 11 o'clock a.m. Okay? Then we'll continue. Thank you.